everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Research Works podcast. We're here at EACD, Galway, Ireland, 2026. It has been an epic effort. I have had the privilege of speaking to so many wonderful people. Sometimes I've met them for the first time. Sometimes it's the first time that I meet them in real life, in person. And today is no exception to that. It's the lady in the beautiful dress here, Bhooma.
Hello.
It had to be a big introduction because we're finally meeting in person.
I feel like I should do a dance.
I feel like you should do a dance. We can do that later. We can do that later.
Yeah.
And here we are in Galway, Ireland. You're here with the team presenting some really good work. Can't wait to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
But you only arrived just a few days ago, yesterday.
Yes. What day is it? I arrived Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Yes. Yeah. Right. A couple days ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been a journey.
It's been a
literally,
journey.
figuratively.
Everyone I talk to seems to be the same as well.
Yeah.
It's, it takes a bit of effort to come out, and we've also been joking around a lot that it's been cold and wet and windy.
Yeah.
But we're coping okay so far. We're indoors. It's okay.
It's okay. And there are glimpses of sun. It's all very metaphorical, I feel.
Yeah, I know. We could go down that path very, very easily today. Well, I'm excited to speak with you about this. I'm so glad you're here to join us about this topic. It's an instructional course with a pretty phenomenal crew, and it's titled an evidence-based, standardized and practical diagnostic framework for cerebral palsy. Why did you feel like you needed to do an instructional course on this?
Great question.
Yeah, let's start there.
This group, which is comprised of a lot of people, only a few of whom are presenting. So Iona Novak, Darcy Failings, and Sid Srivastava presented this with me today. We've been working on this concept for years in parallel with the evolution of the CP description that was published, the updated CP description that was published earlier this year, because it's lovely to know in general what CP is, which is what the CP description provides. But then when you're meeting someone in clinic, how do you apply that practically? What do you do to say this person does or does not have CP? And how do you communicate that to this person? And what practical guidance can we give people on that? In a way that's evidence-based.
Yes.
And I guess why does that matter? It's an equity issue, ultimately. How does everybody who comes into clinic have the same chance of getting a CP diagnosis as anybody else that comes into any other clinic? How do they have the same chance of being communicated that information in an understandable way? Yeah. So that equity aspect was really important to us. So we're trying to pair kind of the how do you do this in real life in an equitable way once you know what CP is, which is what the description provides.
I love that. The update in the CP description, we haven't covered very much here in the pod yet. But I've heard the reactions. There's been quite a varied reaction to it. Some people love it. Some people are not sure about it. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that's been sort of, I guess, received from health professionals like yourself? Sure. And how that changes the outlook, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very normal when you see an update to anything to react. Change is hard.
Change is hard.
Change is hard.
Yeah, let's be clear.
And I think the updated description has put additional detail to things that are that we knew from the 2006 description. So things like what do we mean when we're thinking about the concept of CP being non-progressive? The updated description notes that, what we really mean is neurodegenerative. Yeah. And that's a valuable construct.
It is, yeah.
So thinking through that and trying to add some additional specificity to what we mean about CP, I think in general is valuable. Yeah. And I think we can, sit here and wordsmith and talk about what word could or could not be included in the description. And I think I read the description and I think, this is in general a good understanding of what CP is overall. Sure. So, and that's great. But what I'm trying to come at it with is, so now I have sentences on a page. Yeah. How do I take those sentences on a page and say, I'm now seeing a 5-year-old child with this medical history who may or may not have had brain imaging, can't get sedated for one, who has these findings on an exam, and I'm reading these 4 sentences and I'm seeing this child, and where's the bridge? Where's that? How do I actually do something about it?
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's less about reacting to what word could or could not go in the CP description, because I think it's in general talking about CP, which is great.
I think it does.
It's more when you have sentences, how do you go to practice?
And it's a really important point, isn't it? Because you want to be able to, and I love that example you gave as well. The equity issue is important. It can't be related to your postcode. Not everyone everywhere can get brain imaging.
That's right.
And, there's large parts of the world where you can't do that as well. So how do we actually make sure that we get this into the hands of people who can make these decisions and then send them on their way to therefore get the support that they might need? And that is an integral piece of it. Do you feel like with this whole process, you're obviously very skilled, you have been in the field for a while, you are well linked with everyone, look at you. Can someone apply this? I mean, is that the hope of this? Is that someone who may not have as much experience in seeing children with cerebral palsy, for example, and still being able to provide a diagnosis? Or is this a channel and a pathway to making sure they see someone that can give them that diagnosis?
Yeah, great question. So I think what we're starting with is any clinician, regardless of your prior expertise with CP, the hope is that you'd be able to apply the diagnostic framework.
Yes.
And there are a few key domains in it that you should be able to hit. So one, are there motor signs on exam? Are you seeing anything atypical for this child's age on exam that would fit with CP?
Sure.
And that can include hypotonia. So that's one. Another is, do you have a functional impairment, an impact on your functioning associated with those motor signs?
Yeah.
And is that in motor functioning?
Yeah.
Which can be assessed in all sorts of ways. We can talk about the standardized assessments that we all use in the field. We can also, talking to the family and asking them, is there an impact on functioning, visualizing that in clinic? Any of that counts. So you can scale up or scale down the expertise required for that.
Yes.
The next thing is, has this child lost any motor skills before the age of 5? Or would you predict that they would if it's a baby?
Right.
How do you know, what's that prediction looking like? So there might be some expertise needed to say, well, I need to know how to do a Hein.
Yes.
But we can link that in to the actual framework. And then the last aspect is there atypical brain development?
Sure.
And you can identify that with imaging. You can identify that based on features on exam that are consistent. You can identify that based on medical history. So these 4 things are things that any practitioner should be able to do. And what we're trying to do is develop that in a really operational way. So, what we just presented was like a clicking web tool where you can just go online and say, yes, 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 yes.
Sure.
And then it will give you the diagnosis.
Wow.
So that's the goal. We're getting closer, but that's the goal,
That's amazing. And to be able to have something like that, what are the plans on, I guess, that this is the knowledge transfer part of it, right? Like, how are you going to get this into the hands of the people that need to do this? Does it have to happen at a training level?
Yeah.
Does it happen, is it a hospital-wide kind of training that needs to happen? Like, how can this be implemented?
So I'll tell you, that as a pilot, I've implemented a version of this in our resident clinic at St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Yes.
And it's a smart phrase integrated into our medical record, so it's a click-through phrase.
Wow.
And it has dramatically optimized CP diagnosis in our resident clinic. So nobody was getting diagnosed with CP in our resident clinic, which our clinic sees a lot of babies that are typically referred for neurology, so typically referred for seizures.
Right.
And when you're thinking about seizures, you're not necessarily also thinking about CP.
Of course.
So rates of cerebral palsy diagnosis have gone from near nil to 20% of these babies are now being referred to us for high likelihood of cerebral palsy for further evaluation.
Wow.
So and there's no additional sort of intervention beyond this sort of clicking tool.
Yeah.
So it's possible to
Based on good background medical knowledge and training, you can use this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That is fantastic. So you've already tried it. Look at you.
Well, we've already trialed it.
And I love that. So what's the next step for this now? Now that you've trialed it, that's the pilot. Is it going to be trialed across more centres before it's more widespread?
So a few next steps. So talking about just to think through how we developed this. So Iona Novak has been critical in organizing a set of standardized reviews to inform this. We did an international Delphi process with clinician experts and registry experts to inform how these different criteria are considered. Another aspect we did was a Delphi process with caregivers and adults with CP to inform how the diagnosis is communicated. All of that is built in. There are a couple of areas that we still need to finalize consensus on for the tool. And one of those areas is when we say, when we talk about functioning, how do we distinguish activity limitation from functioning? How much functional impairment is enough? I think that sort of line we need to be, will work a little bit more on.
Yes.
And there are going to be a series of discussions about that, including immediately after EACD here in person with the Delphi participants, and then virtually after with our global experts. And then after that, and after we feel that the tool is finalized, so to speak, in our hands, then we can start disseminating more broadly. So we're still we have a general framework that makes sense for a lot, maybe the vast majority of people with CP you might see, but we still have a little bit of tweaking to do on the back end for this, I think, one of these last areas that we need to finalize. And then after that, we're hoping for broad dissemination to complement the description that exists.
That is amazing. Yeah. Tell me about the time. I think it's always worth people knowing how, like, when did this start, and because I think sometimes when people are looking at what's been developed, a lot of this stuff is done from researchers, but clinicians who are actually working the field, so what's practical, right? So the knowledge gap is really small there, but it takes considerable time to develop it. Can you just walk us through when you started and what that has actually looked like?
Yeah. Well, it's been a journey. We really this group really initially coalesced in 2020. So it's been 6 years now. In 2020, the first paper that our group published, Variability in Cerebral Palsy Diagnosis, was looking at what were the areas that might need to be operationalized based on the 2006 description of CP.
Yeah.
And then we've iteratively progressed since then. Well, when we say these are the areas, what are the actual specific uncertainties? What are the pain points? And then as the updated description involved, and we learned more about how that was going to add additional details to the 2006 description. Did those holes still exist? And how did those holes shift? And most recently, over the last 2 years, there's a group of us that have been meeting weekly for over a year, almost 2 years now.
Wow.
To develop the standardized review questions, the Delphi scenarios, to recruit the Delphi participants, to analyze each of the Delphi rounds of responses, to develop the draft framework, develop the web tool. And it's been one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my life. It's been wonderful.
See that on your face. It's been a journey, but it's been something that's been quite enjoyable as well, because you think about the potential impact it's going to have. I mean, that's where your mind goes, right? And what this actually means for so many children. And the fact that you were just even saying your pilot, this is just one site, one centre. These could have been missed. They could have had a later diagnostic time point. That impacts that family and everyone around them. Like, in terms of impact, this is going to be really significant.
I hope so.
Of course,
I hope so.
It's amazing. Congratulations on this work. Thank you for sharing this with us. It's so exciting to know what's going to be happening and what's going to be in our field, and it's great to finally be at this point where you can present some of this work now as well, isn't it? It's a nice place to be.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
We will be staying tuned. Yes, we'll make sure we keep up to date with all of this, Bhooma. Now, to finish off this episode, I really wanted to ask you a question, which I can see how everything's woven into this already. I've been asking everyone about this because it's a very F-words-based conference. Bhooma, what would your advice be for clinicians to implement more of the F words into their practice?
Yeah.
What would that advice be?
I think in particular with regards to this, I think about family a lot. When we did our Delphi, the caregiver-facing and adults with CP-facing Delphi, one of the statements for how a clinician should communicate about CP that reached consensus right away was, I want my clinician to ask me what I want to know about CP. And when we built our communication guides for clinicians to describe CP to caregivers, we also built in parallel a checklist for caregivers to indicate what they wanted to know of the various pieces of information that could be provided at different ages. And I think that seeing that and developing that has really made me think about how I convey information in a family-centered way in my practice. I'm now constantly asking myself, not what do I think this family needs to know, but how do I think about empowering the family to say that this child's essential environment is the family? How do I empower that family to tell me what the family needs from their perspective?
Sure.
And not necessarily have a preconceived notion of what that looks like.
That's important.
So I think thinking about it in that way, letting the family lead what is important for the whole family.
That's wonderful. It's removing that agenda that you might have of what you want to get through today in your plan, and being okay with just taking a detour if required.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Bhooma, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
It was so lovely to speak with you about this. To all of our listeners, I hope you really enjoyed that. How exciting to know that this tool is around the corner, especially within the context of the fact that it's been going in its development for this long, but it just shows how robust it's going to be and who's been involved and how it's going to meet needs for families. So just keep in tune with all of that. We will let you know, because you'll let me know, Bhooma. Yeah. And then we will go from there. So stay tuned. So much more to come. Hope you've been enjoying it all so far. Take care and bye.